by the end of this video, you should be able to turn your horses into glue with confidence. So, the first thing to keep in mind is the caret symbol on the top left. That is essentially your favorite button. If you click on this and then you try to transfer, any of your Umas that are favorited will not be selectable for glue, in which case you won't accidentally get rid of said Umas. Now, the next part would be to, ensuring that you have at least sparks for essentially any situation. Now, of course, we are considering the part where when you're running Umas and Legacies in the first place, you normally just take whatever blue spark you have at 3-star and then you go from there. But there are cases where you would want to at least have some sort of spark for when you're running certain Umas and some of their proficiencies are at B and you want that to become A. For example, Oguri Cap and Taiki Shoto, as well as El Condor Pasa, who has a B rating in Dirt. So you want at least to have someone that has those sparks just to cover your bases. So this next part is going to be pretty straightforward. So we'll just start off with the first one, and then you'll essentially repeat this process for the other ones, but be sure to keep in mind of the other ones as well at the same time. So we'll first start off with, let's say, Dirt, because that one is basically you're most likely gonna have the least of, because we don't have that many Dirt specialists right now. The only one being Haru Urara, who has A Dirt naturally. So as you can see, in terms of Dirt sparks, make sure you sort by sparks as well so you can actually see the sparks in front of you. As you can see, we have some Dirt Umas. So as you can see here, we do have a Guts Dirt and another Guts Dirt. So this G+ rating is essentially the Haru Ura that comes at the start of the game. If you want to keep it for if you want to keep it for collection reasons, just for your the way that you started the game, then feel free to keep it. But this is an example of an Uma that you can remove. Now, you can consider Legacies later on, but at this point in time, I don't think you'll have someone that will have all 3 good sparks in terms of the main Uma as well as their Legacies. But in this case, we have a Guts in the Dirt and then another Guts and a Dirt. In my case, I do want to keep the G+ Umas for the time being, so I'll be getting rid of this one. And then this one, of course, we're going to be keeping this one because we do have a 2-star speed as well as a 2-star Dirt, and there you go. So in that case, this one, click on transfer, Guts and Dirt, and then you remove that, and there you go. That's 1 space made. And then basically at the same time, you basically just go through the rest and ensure that you have at least 1 of every single type of spark. But in this case, for example, in case you wanted to double up on sprint, you want to ensure that you at least have Umas that are different to each other. So for example, we have many Bakushins here, and so you wouldn't want to keep all of them at the same time because it doesn't really make sense, because you can't use both at once anyway. So in this case, I'm keeping the other G+. And then in this case, we do have a Guts Sprint. Guts isn't really great as a spark, but you could keep 1, but obviously not 1 stars. In this case, we have 2-star sprints across the board, so we'll keep the speed and power version, and then in this case we'll remove these 2. And then up next, obviously, in this case, you can take a look at Wit and Guts at the same time, because these 2 are the least likely sparks that you will use when running your careers. because you'd prefer to have, I think number 1 would either be between stamina and power, and then below that would be speed. And as you can see, we have a lot of wit and guts. And so in this case, we'll just sort. And as you can see, when you try to sort by blue stat, it becomes a bit more complicated because there's a lot of different you know, tracks and lengths to consider as well. So in this case, we're going to switch from dirt to turf, because turf is very important, especially when you're trying to run Haru Urara runs. And so in this case, well, you want to get the most turf possible. So first of all, as you can see, we've got a 3-star turf, nice nature there, and unfortunately we do not have another turf alongside it, but you can use her as a base parent alongside this Daiwa Scarlet, for example, who also has 3-star turf for future use. And then of course you can just favorite them now, because now that you know they exist. And then for the other ones, for example, in this case you have King Halo right here with 1-star guts and 1-star turf. You can double check the legacies, but with the low rating, more likely than not, they're not gonna be that useful. And then we've got a Rise Shower here with 2-star stamina and 2-star turf. You could argue that you could keep it, but in this day and age, I don't think you'd want to do that in the first place. But you know, preferably if you have a 3-star turf, then the 2-star stamina would be nice. But you know, for those that are telling me right now to keep, you know, sure, I'll go keep that. And then this one, you can get rid of the Rise Shower here as well. And then so on and so forth. This is mainly, so what I'm doing right now is mainly if you haven't been favoriting horses that you might think you need down the line, and you just have a lot of Umas that are just laying around, and now you're full on registered Umas. And then outside of that, that's basically it. Essentially, even if those sparks are sparks that you might not use at all, they will be useful later on down the line or sometime down the line, because at some point you would prefer to have some sort of utility as well when you're trying to do your career runs, ensuring that you can adapt to different situations, making your Umas, for example, who are like maybe C rank in end closer, but you want to make them an end closer in the future, you can slowly make them up to be an A proficiency in end closer because you have enough Umas with the right spark. So this is more so just ensuring that you don't waste any potential Umas that you can bring down the line for a baseline inheritance for your future careers. But yeah, that's basically about it. It's just ensuring that you're not being too careless when removing these Umas, because you know, you might find some hidden gems that you may have missed because they did not get a 3-star blue stat, and so you might end up missing it unnecessarily. And of course, you can always sort it out by the number of stars as well. So you can go like this, 3 stars for just the pinks, and then, well, I guess it'll have to be just 3-star itself, but it's kind of the way that they sort it out anyway is a bit weird, because it'll take in white sparks as well that has 3 stars, so it's not really a trustworthy thing to use. So just best to just one at a time and then take a look at the Umas that you have, and then just, you know, turn them into glue as is. But yeah, that's basically about it. If you do have any questions, do let me know down in the comments below. It's been your boy Nitrostorm. I'll see you guys in the next stream or video. Peace.